All right. Everyone is here. We're gonna pass around the card. So Angela, when you get that, that's just, so thank you to Kathy. You've been on, the commission for 5 years.
Oh, wow.
All right, so
All right.
kick it off, sir.
With that, we will call the
Oh,
Middleton Tourism Commission meeting on April 18th. To order, it is 4:01 p.m. First item on the agenda is the approval / discussion of the meeting minutes for March 21st.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So approved. Next item on the agenda is Mr. Yuri Yusef. Give us an update about CXC.
Well, thank you for having me. Yeah, it's was a pretty good winter. We didn't have a lot of natural snow, but still trail passes stayed the same as last year, even very few days of good natural snow. So that was a good sign. And we didn't start making snow until also late because of the construction of, so the parking lot was expanded. So now we have 48 parking spots. But again, they didn't finish grading on the side and parking until literally the last day they could pave. And then the high capacity well couldn't get in the contract for snowmaking until the construction is done. And then also we had the contract with high capacity had some challenges where they put the pump in and the pump wasn't working. So they had to order a new pump. By the time they pulled it out, pulled the new one in, tested it. So that was middle of January. Okay. So it was a late start, but we did get going. Well, we made some snow, kind of making a little bit at the time. So again, having the same number of trail passes sold as last season with starting late and very low natural snow. So about 1,500 trail passes. So about the same. For comparison, also give you an idea. So there's a new snowmaking area was built in St. Paul, Minnesota. So they worked on it for 23 years. Finally got approved. Spent $9 million on it. So those trail passes sales are about 1,200 this year. In a much larger population. So, but we still, I would estimate we will get probably anywhere between 4,000 to 5,000 eventually, just based on the size of the market. We had one event, state championships, which pretty much packed the facility. Plus, we rented the parking lot from Pleasant View Golf Course. So our lot was full. The cars were parked all the way down to the Highway 14, and we filled also the golf course parking. So that kind of showed capacity what we have. But even before that, in the first natural snow day, the parking lot we have right now was full, completely full, with vehicles parked halfway down to Highway 14.
Do you have plans on expanding the parking?
Good question. So there was a lot of complaints came to the mayor and to the city about just not enough parking because everybody wanted to ski. So the mayor came and we had a meeting with Brian and Kylie and the mayor, what our potentials. We sent the request to Wiser Engineering to come up with some ideas and concepts, what can be done within the restricted area, because we have the urban property on one side and then Middleton property on the other side. So we don't have much land, but Wiser came up with a concept that they can actually double the capacity. So get it to 100, roughly to 100 total. So now it's kind of at the parks, at the city hands to decide how they can manage potentially additional funds and expand the parking. And the concern came, and we knew from the beginning, kind of when we started, that parking most likely will be an issue. Just very few people believed it's going to happen. So we kind of started from that standpoint. But the comments came, very valid comments from local residents. It's great to have this place, and people come from all over the place, including Illinois, and we've had people from Illinois and Iowa. It's great to have all these people in Manatee, but for local residents, we can't park. We can't find parking place to park. So that was a concern, and so we're working with the city right now to see what. So we have the plans. We know we can make it work. We know it will meet DNR requirements for stormwater, or stormwater facility will handle it. So they did estimates. So it's just a matter of the funds. It's
Do you know
about
what the estimates are?
90,000 to double the capacity. And that will also provide turnaround for vehicles, because once they come in and they see there's no parking, they need to turn around to go back down and then park, parallel park, or perpendicular park down on the driveway. A good problem to have, and we had a first test seeing that it's going to fill quickly, especially on a good snow days, on the weekends. And now the pump track contract was awarded by the city as well. So the construction of the pump track will start in July and will be completed in August. And my guess is once that is completed, the parking lot will be full again. Yeah, as soon as that opens. So everybody realizing now, okay, this is we need expansion of the parking needs to happen. It's probably never going to serve 100%. The needs it for sure will be probably 25% of weekends. It's 75, yeah, probably not going to be available. So we'll need to figure out. In the winter, it's easy. We can work with a golf course, and we've had a great relationship with the golf course. We pay them a fee per day, and they allow us to plow the snow. Again, in the winter, it's not going to be an issue. In the summer, it's going to be full. Yeah. But the good thing in the summer also, I spoke yesterday with the foreman of the construction, Kyle, his last name, the Pleasant View, that oversees the construction of the Pleasant View. So they are on schedule. They should be finishing as expected sometime in the fall. And the pedestrian bike bridge over Pleasant View will be completed in the fall. I've met with Kylie today about the funds city has allocated for a 10-foot bike path going from the bridge to the CXC Center. So that probably will need to go for bid sometime in the fall, as soon as we know when the construction will be completed of the bridge, because bridge needs to be done first before they put the bike path. But once it's all done and connected, people can park on the other side, not in that business park on the road with the bike path and bike up. So in the summer, it should be more manageable, especially if people know the parking lot fills up quickly. Bike people will have to just bike up that hill, which will be a good exercise. There's a little bit terrain. So then another next phase in construction will be, we did receive a grant, 250,000 from a local foundation. I can't say the name yet, but it is confirmed we received. They are in the process of sending to the city naming rights agreement. They will be getting naming rights for the bike park. And that grant will, along with a grant we received from DNR, from state DNR, will build a trail around the upper field. Mari calls it community trail, which actually what it is. It will be probably one of its kind that planned and constructed from the beginning. So if you can imagine the trail corridor on the inside of the corridor will be 10-foot regular bike trail, one direction only. And then in the middle to the right of it will be natural surface trail, kind of like nicely shortcut grass. And then on the other side of it will be, they call it single track sidewalk. It's like a very easy 4 to 5 feet mountain bike single track trail with a permanent surface on it. So you can ride regular road bike on it. That it's kind of made specifically for beginners and immediate families. So anybody really can ride it with some feature elements on the side for advanced intermediate riders. And that trail can be ridden pretty much year round in any time. So it doesn't matter whether it's rain or so. That would be.
And it's also going to be lit.
It will be lit as well. So we tested this year the solar lights at the parking lot. So they still work and they light up. So the same plan we'll have for the rest of the trail system. We'll go with the same solar lights. So that community trail It could be potentially built this fall, depending on bike park project. Yeah, but it could be also depend on the contractors, might be better to shift it to the next spring. Because the contractor for 10-foot trail will be different than the contractor for the mountain bike trail, and they'll need to work together. So they don't create any damage as they're working with the heavy equipment on each side project. So again, this fall or potentially next fall, that would be completed and open. We're also applying for 3 grants with City of Middleton to extend that community trail to double the length. So that will be a grant. We're applying for DNR. We're applying also for a grant at DNR for the bike park pavilion, kind of like a timber frame pavilion that and we'll have some picnic tables and people can rent as well. And then the 3rd grant, we will be applying for snowmaking for permanent infrastructure snowmaking, so we can do it much quicker and more efficient and less labor intensive volunteers. So, well, that's due in a couple of weeks. We're finalizing a design, actually Dan Urban, we're meeting this week with the architect, finalizing design of phase 1 trailhead building. We're a little bit short, price has just been all over the places. So about 175 short of the final. We are talking with a bank in case if we need to have a line of credit to move forward with the construction. So meeting with Dan this Thursday with Dan Urban and architect, not the architect who designed the building, that is, the plans are done. We just want to have some, he would like to see some final touches on the building with his taste, architectural taste. So we're meeting on Thursday with a local architect just to kind of make it a little bit, I'll share with you plans once it's finalized. And based on the contractors, we still hope to start construction sometime this summer, hopefully with everything finalized. But again, we should be in a good place. I mean, we applying some, I submitted some grants to cover that gap of 175, but again, we're talking to the banks and potentially some pledges as well, like we've done for the access drive in a local community to get that gap closed up. So that building will be, if we start construction this summer, the building will be ready next spring. So a lot of things can happen in the next year.
Which bank is giving the financing for the project?
So right now we're working for access drive, we work with Capital One Bank. For the building, potentially we'll be going with US Bank.
Okay.
Yeah, we're kind of trying to spread the load. So and it's a little bit, they're more flexible, US Bank, on what they can do, because our goal is to move our offices once the building is done. So they will be using our history of paying the rent, lease of our current space in Madison, applied towards the line of credit for the new construction. So yeah, bigger banks have a little bit more flexibility doing that with the smaller.
And obviously, we need to follow up with you on signage.
Yes, yeah.
So that's still something that's on my list too.
Yeah, we spoke about it today with Kylie as well.
Okay.
Yeah, signage, not just for the trails,
Yeah,
but signage
just,
overall for the center, on the highway, at the entrance. So there's a lot of signage will need to happen, and on the trails. So we should hear from this foundation on the trails for the bike park sometime in the next, I'm guessing, couple of weeks. So that will go to the city for review and the city attorney. So hopefully that all will be settled. But it's a pretty big, probably one of the biggest grants for bicycling locally in the area. So that trail itself and existing trails will definitely put Middleton on the map regional wide, like right away, with a pump track, the trails, and that community trail.
So when back in January, we talked about when we could make a more formal announcement that we provided a grant. And we wanted to wait until your big donor came through. So is that the one that you're saying that in the next couple of weeks that it'll be public?
It could, I think, from my perspective, as soon as we have final design of the building, I think at that point we can I mean, we can wait until the foundation is comfortable releasing the name, but we don't have to.
Okay,
I think mainly once we have the final design, everybody's comfortable how the building will look like, because I think that would be important. I mean, we want to make sure that it's the building look like it's people would want to go and check it out. And once they see it, once it's built, they want to come back. Yeah, we don't have to wait for that foundation to actually.
okay. I'll follow up with you on that.
Yeah.
All right, and obviously last month, I provided you what Yuri had sent, which was a great little like snippets of updates on everything, and all of those links were fantastic. Anybody have any questions? As far as events go that you are hoping to plan for either 2023's winter, fall, winter, or early 24, do you have anything in the works?
Yeah, we had a meeting with Brandon and Jamie. So just brainstorming ideas of what events, new events, even we can start it and can come on an annual basis. We can host it every year. So one event we discussed for the fall is a trail running half marathon or marathon, because that can be unique and looks like they might be an interest and need. So we planning to talk again this month to see, is it something that we need to find a group who will come to organize it, like race day events, or would it be potentially handled by maybe a store or some running club with our assistance? So we just need to see what would be the best logical approach to do that. And then now with snowmaking in place with high capacity, well, we are planning to have the early season opener event, depending on when we can make snow, probably sometime first weekend of December. That's our ideal time to have kind of like a festival where people can come and try equipment, potentially have live music, beer goes well with that as well. So kind of festival, little opening, like a fishing opening. So it will be Wisconsin Nordic opener. There's a similar event in Minnesota, in Minneapolis. So they have vendors and equipment just to kind of celebrating the beginning of the season.
So this is a new event. It's not
That's
something
a new
that's
event.
coming here.
Yeah.
Okay.
That'll be a new event. Yeah. And we will do it every year. So this will be the annual event.
Right. Do you anticipate having a state championship?
That event moves around, always around the state. So it eventually will come back. But it's on Sunday they will be deciding when that event will be moving next.
Okay.
Yeah, so it will come back again. There's only probably 3 venues around the state that actually can handle it, because the snowmaking is a big part of it. And that will give us also time to develop a little bit more infrastructure, especially having a building will be a big part. Yeah.
So do you anticipate any event in winter 24, January through March 24? If the state event isn't returning, is there anything?
We probably will do something for sure. Once some events. And I haven't talked. Jamie said they've been looking at some, they're reaching out to other. So I definitely will need to rely on what they think would be.
Anybody else have anything?
And this is sorry, you have.
No, this is great.
So I know there are several different phases in the building that you're talking about. Is more of like the trailhead building, right? So and then there will be an actual like building that you can have like banquets and stuff in. When is that kind of slated to?
So, well, first we need to finish the fundraising for the first phase. And then once that is completed, by that time in the spring, a lot of other amenities will be completed as well. So I feel we'll have a lot more leverage to raise funds for the event center. Once everything else, it will be much easier to tell the full story of the facility. And strategically, we want to use that event center as a potential naming rights for the whole outdoor center as well. So that's kind of what the way we're thinking.
And what was the total goal for the phase one fundraising and where are you at?
So the total about 700,000 cost us, and we're at 525.
So when did it go up? Because last fall,
It went up and we had to go to different contractors. So we went from commercial contractor to like a large scale residential contractor. That dropped the price back down. So it went from 700 up to almost 3 million. Then we had to go review the math and search for a different contractor. And we were suggested to go just a large residential contractor to the structure, which is it's 4,000 square feet. So it's not, it is like a big home. So that was, yeah, kind of neat. And Dan had more experience as well as some of that too. So that's kind of what had to, but it was definitely quite a bit of time when the bids came from a commercial contractor. We were hoping because of the prices going down and the lumber, and it just went up. Actually, didn't go down, it just went up.
So will that $250,000 grant that you're hoping to hear back on, would that make up that gap then between the 520?
No, that's for the trail.
That's
That grant for the trail.
Okay.
Yeah. No, there's different grants we applied for the building, and there's some
Okay,
pledges that we're waiting to hear from it. And the bank, that's the last resource will be working with the bank. So it's a little challenging when you have so many different pockets and raising money at the same time. It gets a little tricky with asking, but we're managing through. It's all kind of happening at the same time. Many pieces happening at the same time, which is also exciting.
I don't know, I kind of feel like maybe at some point you showed us a PowerPoint with this, but do you have printed materials that you show potential donors? You know, something that you go in and say, this is what you get for this?
I usually try to get them there. We have some printed materials, depends on what they're looking for, but mainly I want to get them to the site first, so they can see it, and then depends on the interest. Then I would send them like a building design, or we've had some materials printed, but it was very generic. So sometimes I give it back, mainly trying to see what's the best fit for them, and then have that conversation. Yeah, we still have boxes of them, but I found it's much better once I get people there. It's a lot easier to get them excited and talk about what they care.
Much tougher sell over email or paper, right?
Oh, definitely, yeah. And you can't be so specific on paper. That's just so too general. But I do have boxes still. Some questions?
I'm gonna follow up with you on a couple of things.
Sure.
Including some fundraising stuff, and then, should we ask maybe, do you think September would be a good time for you to come back and give us sort of an update
Yeah,
on construction and,
Yeah.
next events planned?
that would be great, yes.
I think we need to have one of our meetings there.
Mhm.
like
In the
that.
dome?
In the dome, it gets a little hot. There's no air conditioning.
I would just love, I mean, I haven't been out.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
that I can't get out there.
We
before
can
have a
absolutely
meeting, but-
plan like a tour. Our meetings have to be open to the public though, so it does need to be, 100% accessible.
Yeah.
But
Maybe in September.
we could totally
if it's,
plan a commission outing.
Yeah,
Okay, so
because the pump
September.
track will be completed by then, and that'll be nice, and the grass will be, it's a little rough right now with grading finishing late last fall. Grass still needs to come up.
Well, yeah, once it looks really good, we'll want to talk about a photo shoot too, so.
Yeah.
But it doesn't look like a construction site, it's not just dirt.
Yeah,
All right, Well, thank you so much for coming by.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Thanks, you.
We
Appreciate
appreciate
the
your
time.
in-person update as well as what you submitted last month.
Yeah,
too.
any
So,
questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Very much.
Thank you.
All right, next item on the agenda is hotel updates. Angela, want to do something? That way I could just say ditto.
2023 looking really strong group wise. We're easing ahead in most types of groups. Exciting news. Jim and I probably had the same like up and down heart attack a couple weeks ago. Epic reopened their BT travel and they were going to be requiring everyone to come for training. And then they said they're not requiring everyone, but they're making it optional. So just the fact that it's optional is going to bring more of that to the area. And we're excited for that. Would have been better if it was required though.
I fired an email off as soon as that information came through and I regretted it.
Right.
About a minute later,
Yes.
but you know, I
Yeah.
really should have let this sit for a couple of weeks
Yeah.
before even, but.
Mine went out to the revenue team as well.
Yeah, yep. Started popping champagne, you know.
So, as far as my 3 hotels, we're just about all done. Grand opening next week.
Exciting.
I ran out of my office for getting you guys invites, so I'll email them. We have our grand opening next Wednesday, tours and trolley rides and all that, so that'll be very fun. Yeah, and one thing that was nice to know here from Epic, in talking to them, reopening their stuff is Middleton, unless someone is like right there just for one day, Middleton is their preferred area to put their travelers just because of the accessibility of everything, so
Nice.
they're a nice partner to Middleton, I think.
Yeah, I've got nothing really to add to that. In fact, that's right on point. We are also pacing well this year. Hotel. You know, for us, business travel is still behind, but you know, group is still making up the ground there where it's needed. So that's great. Yeah, that's really all I have for hotel updates at this point.
Can I ask a question that ties a little bit in with this BXC? I don't, neither one of your hotels have shuttle service, do you?
I mean, not to CXC, we wouldn't. We've got airport shuttle right now for airline crews and for groups that have people coming from longer distances, but
He's rented the trolley in the past. As well, like to like get people back and forth, but yeah, I know what you mean.
It's
To the golf
3.5 years ago when they told me the parking, I was like, that's gonna be a huge problem. And that was, I think they had a fraction of the 48. I mean, 100 stalls is not, especially if they get the event centers, nobody's gonna rent it for a wedding if there's 100 stalls. Or, you know what I mean? Like, that's why I was.
We don't mind that.
Right. And weddings truly aren't the biggest room night generators. to be
Or,
honest
right,
with you.
whatever,
Everybody
you know
calls
what
me
I'm
up, I'm gonna have
saying,
400
it's-
people at my wedding.
Yeah,
and we
yeah.
need 150 rooms a night. It's just not the way it works out.
Or state championships or
Yeah.
whatever
Yeah.
Jamie is bringing in, if people are coming from Iowa and Minnesota and Illinois to go to it, they will be in the vehicle.
Yes. So that would be helpful. But he might need a friend.
They won't have any, they won't have anywhere to park.
Yeah.
That's my thing. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the relationship with Vanderbilt might be.
Well, and he could apply for one of our grants for that as well. And he didn't ask for that, but I mean, he applied for, it was like $1,000 or $1,500 for marketing. But he didn't apply for anything for transportation this year. But now we know exactly how many people would be attending that kind of event.
Yeah.
Hopefully the next time they're in town, that'll be something that we talk about.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that place being put on the map as far as rotations for different regional and national tournaments. I mean, there's not just skiing or mountain biking, fat bike races. They were close to booking a fat bike competition up at Pleasant View, but I think that it fell through because of the worry about damage to Pleasant View's golf course.
Sure.
But it was close. They came for sites and all of that. They wanted to do it here. So I think that there's good opportunities
There's
for
potential.
some large room night generation out of that facility. Maybe not this year, next year, but I would say probably within 3 years, you know. So,
Oh, can I add one thing to the hotel? There is a lot of CLC business in the area, probably more than it seems like I can tell from years past. So that's exciting too, as it ties into other project business going on, so.
Tell me now what CLC is.
I was gonna ask the same question.
Oh, it's like corporate lodging, so they're like the corporate travel agent for a lot of construction crews and project business.
Oh, got it.
There's so many acronyms in hospitality.
All that.
You're not alone.
Yeah, I was
You're
like, I
not alone.
don't know what that means. I have to know.
Okay, so we'll move right on to the director's report. Everyone's
Yeah.
good? So just a few things to touch on right away. So the website is launched. Obviously, we've got tweaks, but part of our contract with them was we have about like 4 or 5 weeks of service with them to fix anything that's like glitching. We were just finding a couple of things today, trying to upload, and we'll have formal training on Thursday with Amy and I and the company. And so that is up and running. Summer hours are going to return May 4th, so we'll be back open 5 days a week to the public. We are here 5 days a week. We were just closed on Thursdays. A big portion of that was the fact we weren't fully staffed. So now we're going back to 8:30 to 4:30, Monday through Friday. And we decided to start May 4th because Laura's going to be out all next week. And so this way,
Yeah.
we still have another person.
Yeah.
National Travel and Tourism Week is the second week in May. We'll be submitting a proclamation to the city to be read the week before. I was also asked by the council to give a short presentation on tourism on the 2nd. And then I'm actually scheduled for the chamber, I think in June.
Yep.
And so we'll be talking a little bit about tourism this summer. We are also, let's see here. Oh, and then the last thing was Jim and I sat down with Destination Madison and MASC last week to kind of talk about basically to get a little bit more detail and analytics on the last 10 years. This is our 10th year with MASC. I asked for a full leads report. I got numbers. It's still helpful, but I'm going to follow up and ask for at least the last couple of years, the actual names of the events that came through. And it gave basically like an overview of the room nights generated by the events that they booked. And so we'll be taking that and using that to compare to how much we're paying at MASC and Destination Madison, the grants that we're using, et cetera, in order to do a full audit. And this will just be part of the strategic plan as well, so that we can just come through and, and maybe every 3 to 5 years go through and just kind of look at where we're standing on everything and just make sure that we're always moving forward. But it was a fairly good and very short conversation. And the only other thing to bring up is so the commission members will be reappointed in May. And so June is your official restart date. And we'll probably use June's board meeting and commission meeting as an onboarding. So we'll sit down and we'll all do it all at once because everybody has had different things, different people, different times. So with the new person, we'll sit down and we'll do it all at once and hopefully keep it kind of short. But also it'll be a time for us to talk a little bit more about what we want that strategic plan to look like. Because it's been changing so much over the months because of everything that's been going on. And part of that too, we'll discuss is there was a court case coming out of the city of Manitowoc, the city of Manitowoc versus Visit Manitowoc, and we can go through that. The judgment came through, and there are some ways that it could affect tourism departments that are part of a city, all depending on how things shake through. The judge has signed it, but it's all contingent on whether or not there's an appeal process, right? So the final ruling will come down in May, I believe it is, on funding. And then whether or not it's appealed, I mean, it could be like another year before we're actually discussing whether or not there are any changes that we might have to make. And we can discuss more of that in June too, once we even hear about whether or not the city of Manitowoc is planning on appealing, et cetera.
What was the suit over?
So there are a lot of different articles online to look up the details of it if you want to, and I can also email you the final rules. But
Your side goes
the
there.
overview is City of Manitowoc had a DMO called Visit Manitowoc. They decided to create their own city department, and they also named that Visit Manitowoc. And so in their own commission. So for a short period of time, there were 2 tourism entities, 2 commissions, but the city was keeping the tax money, obviously, to run theirs. The original commission, and this is like such an overview, but the original commission sued and won. And all the reasons, I can forward you the final thing, because it's bulleted, it's very easy to go through. But the reasons behind it included, just how they structured it. It didn't follow the state statute.
Okay.
In many ways. And so that came down. And so the original Visit Manitowoc won. But in May, they have another part of that ruling, which is going to be about the funding issue. Because this is a public meeting, I don't want to pretend like I'm a legal authority that can really speak on all of this.
Yeah.
But when that comes through, the city of Manitowoc will have just like anyone, the ability to decide if they want to appeal. Appeals processes can take a really long time.
Sure.
This case has been going on for, I think, almost a year. So just to keep you guys all kind of up to date, we'll go through more of that in June as well.
Okay.
And again, the only way I can see it really affecting us as a city department is we have, I forwarded it to our city attorney just so that he can take a look. There might be some ways of how we're changing, basically like paying our checks. It's all still gonna come out the same thing, but who's signing them or something like that. Like there are a whole bunch of little things that could change or not at all.
Yep.
There isn't really anything to worry about. We aren't doing anything illegally. We're just also, I think all city departments that are also tourism entities are relooking at things and just making sure if this goes through, like, are we following everything the exact same way? And I'm reaching out to some other city departments that also have tourism departments within them as well, just to ask, to compare and contrast, like, how are you doing it versus how we're doing it?
Yeah.
And I've spoken with Destinations Wisconsin several times, and I reached out to them and just said, hey, how does this maybe affect us? And so we've been kind of going back and forth. But again, it could be like another year before we even know what's going on exactly.
Okay.
But that's just something that has been, we will have some lawyer fees attached to that, so the commission should be aware. Because I've sat with a lawyer for like half an hour so far. That's it. But that's all I have right now. Again, in May, we'll have new appointments, and we do have 1 grant on the board. Oh, a second. This you? I can't. There you are. There. We do have 1 grant on the schedule for May already with MASC, but it's not for an event until next year. And so that will be really promising. And so yeah, that's all I've got for you guys. And hopefully we can keep that one a little bit shorter. I want to thank everybody. I know in the last 10 or so months, we've had some very long meetings. We've had a lot of special meetings for grant approval. You guys have been amazing to work around all those schedules. And thank you to all of those who reapplied and stay on the commission for another year. I appreciate it. Yeah. Any questions about anything else that's going on? And if you haven't already, this is Amy. You've all met her virtually. Now you get to meet her personally.
I met her personally on the way in. Welcome. Happy to have you.
Nice to meet you. She's what is it, like a month and a half now? So yeah. She's been to a
So you know
conference.
everything. It's been a month and a half.
Yeah, she's old hat. Like I just walk away. She just does it now. So, and we love having her, and it's been working out really great, hopefully, on both sides. She hasn't ran away yet. So yeah, that's just where we're going right now. But again, I just want to tell you guys how much I appreciate you the last year. You've been fabulous. And we've had some like crazy scheduling with the grants, but also some of that was too coming out of the pandemic. All of a sudden there are events, and a lot of these events had such short turnarounds. Yeah. Hopefully we can get back to having it much more structured and not having 17 in 1 month and nothing for 2 months. Hopefully we'll get back to that. So did you guys want to add anything at all? No, I think so. Okay, I'll deliver this, the thank you gift to Kathy. Tonight at Common Council, they're going to give proclamations to say goodbye to the council members leaving, and then swearing in all the new council and the mayor tonight, and I'll represent and the Tourism Commission in this Middleton, and I'll give her the gift. So,
Awesome.
thank you.
Motion to adjourn,
Yes.
motion to adjourn,
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Adjourned.
Thank you. See you later.
Thank you for the
Thank
use of the
you.
parking board. I appreciate that.
What does it say? Yes. Oh, yeah. Wants to stop over here.